Nets cannot afford to go down 2-0, Molly, JJ, and Stephen A. And the deal is the confidence factor, right? The Celtics, listen, Kevin Durant did not play great. 6 turnovers, 9 of 23, whatever it was, that's fine. But the Celtics still were able to win, and they used everything that they have. If the Nets go down 2-0, it probably is going to mean that they're going to have to find some more defensive prowess, which I don't know is going to emerge in the course of this series. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Celtics, Jason Tatum in particular, who I thought was the best two-way player in that game, is just going to continue to elevate. We've talked about him chasing Kevin Durant in terms of the style of his game and all the things that he can do. I think between those guys playing with more confidence, and I trust, at this point, Ime Udoka would have been one of my finalists for Coach of the Year. I trust him if this thing gets tight down the road a little bit more than I do Steve Nash. I do not think the Nets can afford to go down 2-0. Or 0-2, rather.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you, and I'll just provide 2 recent examples. Nobody probably knows better than the Nets that winning the first 2 games of a series doesn't mean you win the series. This happened last year against the Bucks. A lot can happen within a playoff series, and of course the finals last year. The finals last year. Suns going up 2-0, Milwaukee coming back 4-2. I know the Celtics won. We should just acknowledge how close to winning Brooklyn was in Game 1. And I go back, and I wasn't here yesterday, but I go back to the play 114-111 when Jaylen Brown is bringing it down the court against Bruce Brown. They're pinning away for Jason Tatum. Nick Claxton has his back turned to the ball and provides this incredible driving lane. And that quick bucket is what allowed them to have 10, 14 seconds, whatever it was, once they got the ball on the defensive stop, to make 3 or 4 passes and get that layup. The Nets are good enough to beat the Celtics. A lot of this series will hinge on tomorrow night's game. But with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, as good as the Nets are, they are absolutely capable of coming back from down 2-0. They have the talent. This is not a case of Denver Warriors or, Atlanta, Miami, where these 2 teams are overmatched. This is an equal series to me, and tomorrow's game is pivotal for sure, but it won't decide the series.
You notice, you see how JJ Redick is, y'all. See how JJ Redick is. Stephen A, I mean, you're right for a change and blah, blah, blah. Monica speaks. I respectfully disagree. You see how that works? You see how that works? I mean, the whole tone just changed. I mean, let's embrace them, all right? That's fine. That's fine. JJ, you're wrong. Here's the deal. The Brooklyn Nets had better win Game 2 tomorrow night. They better win Game 2. They don't win Game 2. I can't see the Brooklyn Nets winning 4 out of 5 games. Now, I picked them to win this series in 7 games. So let me tell you how I think this is going to go. Tomorrow night in Game 2, KD drops 40. Okay, drops 40. All right, Kyrie going to have 30 at least. KD drops 40. They escape Boston with Game 2. They come back to Brooklyn. They're going to split Game 3 and 4. They're going to go back to Boston for Game 5. And obviously, both teams are going to handle their business on their home court for Games 5 and 6. And then we're going to have a Game 7 at TD Bank Garden. That's how I see this unfolding. This is the reason why I say to you, regardless of what I just said and prognosticated, the reality of the situation is it's a very daunting task to ask this Brooklyn team to come back from a 2-0 deficit for this reason. I picked Boston to lose this series because Robert Williams hasn't been available, and even if he comes back, it's still going to be challenging for him. But the reality is that if you down 0-2 and you got to win 4 or 5, Robert Williams III is expected back for this series. Now, how would I know about the value of Robert Williams in terms of his contribution to their defense and whatever? Not only because I know my basketball, not only because I watch, okay? I don't just read about the games, I actually watch the games, okay? But also because my brother from another mother, JJ Redick, was raving about them. I recall, once upon a time, we were watching them, and we were talking about what a hard, difficult watch they were because all they did was play one-on-one and stuff like that. They weren't playing team basketball. They weren't doing all of those things. And then they flipped the switch and all of a sudden turned it on, upped their defensive prowess significantly from a collective standpoint. They're the best defensive team in the NBA, and we saw something different. And J.J. Redick came on First Take talking about that defense and talking about Robin Williams. So when J.J. Redick sits up there and says, well, I just don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to rule it out if they're down 0-2, that they could come back and win this series. I'm like, it debunks everything that you've been saying about what you have seen from the Boston Celtics over the last 40, 50 games. That's where I'm coming from, Jay.
Well, I don't think it debunks what I've seen over the last 40 or 50 games. I'm saying it's not out of the realm of possibility that a Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving team could come back from down 2-0. We have two recent examples of that. Of great teams being able to do that. By the way, I want
the price of tea in China. I mean, the bottom line is it's a daunting task.
I want to make a point, Stephen A., because I did say that to you early in the season. I don't know if it was November or December. I said to you, December, you're right. It was right before, I think it was January 7th they started this run.
Yep.
Right before that happened, I said to you, the Boston Celtics are my least favorite team to watch in the NBA. For all the reasons you mentioned. There was no trust.
And you were right.
And what we witnessed on that last offensive possession was nothing but trust. Jaylen Brown had a matchup where he could have just shot a contested shot. He saw Marcus Smart on the weak side. Marcus Smart had an open shot, saw two defenders running at him, created off the dribble. Jason Tatum obviously makes a great cut. The trust is there. They built that trust, I think, defensively because they've been so dominant defensively.
I agree. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.